Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll begin with the prayers.
Hare Krishna. No, I just wanted to say, please accept my humble obeisances. My glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So should we begin with the prayer?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 6, Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva, text 22 through 25. Okay, this is text 22. So what we read yesterday was an elaborate description of Kailash. And before that, to summarize briefly, um, Sati had gone to um, the sacrifice of her father without an invitation. But a daughter can go to her father's house even without an invitation. So there was no fault in it. But there was already a pre existing um, difference between Lord Shiva and her father Daksha. So Daksha, he did not invite Lord Shiva nor his wife, and when she arrived, he did not speak with her, and that hurt the feelings of Sati very much. Not only that, she also noticed that the offerings for Lord Shiva were not being made during the sacrifice. His share was not being given to him. So when she noticed all of this, she could not keep quiet. And the reason is not that she had to speak up for her husband as a wife, but also she knew the exalted position of Lord Shiva. She did not speak up for she did not speak just because she was the wife of Lord Shiva. She spoke up because Lord Shiva was a great devotee of the Lord. And when devotees of the Lord are not properly honored, then um, it one can speak about it. One can try to share um, that this devotee is a very nice devotee, and one should not others should not blaspheme him like that. So that's exactly what she did. She tried to share with her father the elevated position of Lord Shiva, but everything fell on deaf ears. And although Sati was not an ordinary woman, we should remember who Sati is, and we should also remember who Lord Shiva is. Lord Shiva is the greatest among demigods. He is considered to be greater even than Lord Brahma, who is the architect of this universe, who is the first living being to whom Krishna imparted the Vedic knowledge. Lord Shiva is in a special category of himself. It is called Shiva Tattva. So no ordinary living entity compares with Lord Shiva, and he is considered to be the greatest among Vaishnavas. And Sati, his consort, is none other than Parvati or Durga herself. So she is the external potency of Lord Vishnu. So neither Lord Shiva nor his wife are ordinary living entities. And she is so powerful that by her power, the entire material universe is, is control. So Sati is not an ordinary lady, and Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living entity. And if either of them wanted, they could immediately destroy Daksha there itself as soon as he committed an offense towards Lord Shiva. But because Sati was also the daughter of Daksha in this pastime, she did not destroy her father. Instead, she decided to destroy the body that was connected to her father. And she sat on a mat and she focused all her energies in such a way that immediately her body was burned to ashes. She had transferred herself from that particular body to become Parvati in her next life as the um, daughter of the Himalaya mountains. So after Sati quits her body, she destroys her body. All the followers of Lord Shiva, um, they fled because of the attacks of the sages. But then, when Lord Shiva came to know about the entire scenario, what was happening from from a strand of his hair, as Govardhan Lila Mataji was explaining, he manifested a demon. The demon's name was Veerabhadra, and that demon was particularly empowered to kill Daksha because Lord Shiva could not tolerate what had just happened to his wife. That Daksha could be so cruel that he saw his own daughter um, destroying her body, and Daksha did not stop it. His heart had become very cruel. So Lord Shiva was extremely angered at Daksha, and he wanted to destroy him. So what happens following that is that um, Veerabhadra goes to the place where the sacrifice is being performed, and he, along with his associates, they destroy the entire arena of the sacrificial performance, and they take into captive some of the sages. And Veerabhadra finally he goes to a place where actually animals are sacrificed in the sacrificial during the sacrificial yagyas, and he chops off the head of Daksha using that. So the chapter that follows that, miss some of the texts, but the chapter that follows that is Lord Brahma, along with all the demigods and sages, goes to appease Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is so powerful. If his anger was not appeased, the entire world could be devastated. He's so powerful. So um, Lord Brahma goes there and he glorifies the position of Lord Shiva. And there is this description of Kailash, which we read yesterday, which Manasi Ganga Mataji and Govardhan Lila Mataji were discussing. I'm sorry I could not participate, but I was hearing. So there is this beautiful description of Kailash. And uh, so we'll read from where we left off. Today we'll be covering text 22 through 25. Would any
Leela Manjari Mataji, I just wanted to, sorry to interrupt you, but this was, I felt, a good point to let you know if it's too early and we have completed this, since it's Friday, we can go beyond that, as much as we can. And, and then I'll just start from, I'll make the schedule from that point on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Govardhan Lila Mataji. Would you like to read Govardhan Lila Mataji?
Why not? I can read some.
You can read 22 and 23.
Sure. Okay. Text 22, this is Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 22. Paryastam Nandaya Satyaha Snana Punyatarodaya Vilokya Utesha Girim Vibuddha Vismayam Yayu. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There is a small lake named Alakananda in which Sati used to take her bath. And that lake is especially auspicious. All the demigods, after seeing the specific beauty of Kailash Hill, were struck with wonder at the great opulence to be found there. Purport. According to the commentary called Sri Bhagavat Chandrika, the water in which Sati used to bathe was Ganges water. In other words, the Ganges flowed through the Kailash Parvata. There is every possibility of accepting such a statement because Ganges water also flows from the hair of Lord Shiva. Since Ganges water rests on the head of Lord Shiva and then flows to the other parts of the universe, it is quite possible that the water in which Sati bathed which was certainly very nicely scented, was Ganges water. Text 23. Dadrishu tatrate Ramyam alakam namavai purim vanam sogandikam chapi yatratan nama pankajam. All the demigods saw the wonderfully beautiful region known as Alaka in the forest known as Sogandika, which means full of fragrance. The forest is known as Sondika because of its abundance of lotus flowers. Purport. Sometimes Alaka is known as Alaka Puri, which is also the name of the abode of Kuvera. Kuvera's abode, however, cannot be seen from Kailash. Therefore, the region of Alaka referred to here is different from the Alaka Puri of Kuvera. According to Viraragav Acharya, Alaka means uncommonly beautiful. In the region of Alaka, the demigods saw there is a type of lotus flower known as Sogandika that distributes an especially fragrant scent. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, anybody else would like to read text 24 and 25?
I can read.
Sure.
So this is text 24. I'm reading from my phone. So just
Sure.
let you know. Yeah.
Scrolling.
Nanda Chalaka cha Sarito Bhayata Pura Tirtha Pada Padam Boja Rajasatva Pavane. Translation. They also saw the two rivers named Nanda and Alakananda. These two rivers are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. Text 25. Yayo Surashritas Kshatar Avaryuhasva Drishtayah Kridanti Pumsam Chinta Sinchantyo Vigahyarati Karshitaha. Translation. My dear Kashta, Vidura, the celestial damsels came down to those rivers in their aeroplanes with their husbands, and after sexual enjoyment, they entered the water and enjoy sparkling their husbands with water. Purport. It is understood that even the damsels of the heavenly planets are polluted by the thought of sex enjoyment, and therefore they come in aeroplanes to bathe in the rivers Nanda and Alakananda. It is significant that these rivers, Nanda and Alakananda, are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, just as Ganges is sacred because its water emanates from the toes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, so whenever water or anything is in touch with devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is purified and spiritualized. The rules and regulations of the devotional service are based on this principle. Anything in touch with the lotus feet of the Lord is immediately free from all contamination. The damsels of the heavenly planets polluted by the thoughts of sex life, come down to bathe in the sanctified rivers and enjoy sparkling water with their husbands. Two words are very significant in this connection. Rati Karshita means that the damsels become morose after sex enjoyment. Although they accept sex enjoyment as a bodily demand, afterwards they are not happy. Another significant point is that Lord Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is described here as Tirthapada. Tirtha means sanctified place, and Pada means the lotus feet of the Lord. People go to a sanctified place to free themselves from all sinful reactions. In other words, those who are devoted to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, automatically become sanctified. The Lord's lotus feet are called Tirthapada because under their protection there are hundreds and thousands of saintly persons who sanctify the sacred places of pilgrimage. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, a great acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, advises us not to travel to different places of pilgrimage. Undoubtedly, it is troublesome to go from one place to another, but sorry, I don't know that we are reading.
It's
Yeah.
the third line on my screen.
Huh?
It's the third line on my screen. Undoubtedly, it is troublesome.
Yeah. To go from one place to another, but one who is intelligent can take shelter of the lotus feet of Govinda and thereby be automatically sanctified as a result of his pilgrimage. Anyone who is fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Govinda is called Tirthapada. He does not need to travel on various pilgrimages, for he can enjoy all benefits of such travel simply by engaging in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a pure devotee who has implicit faith in the lotus feet of the Lord can create sacred places in any part of the world where he decides to remain. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. The places, Bhagavatam 1:13-10. The places are sanctified due to the presence of pure devotees. Any place automatically becomes a place of pilgrimage if either the Lord or his pure devotees remain or resides there. In other words, such a pure devotee who is engaged 100% in the service of the Lord can remain anywhere in the universe. And that part of the universe immediately becomes a sacred place where he can peacefully render service to the Lord as the Lord desires.
Thank you very much, Primarasa. So we'll stop here for today because I think there are many important points in these purports, and Srila Prabhupada is describing this section about the glories of the pure devotee of the Lord very nicely. So as we know, actually the demigods are here in Kailash, and there is a place called Alakananda in which Sati used to take her bath. Actually, this place is very famous. I have not been to this place, but I have heard the name of this place many times, Alakananda. It's a very famous tourist place in the Himalayas. And they are very much attracted to the beauty of Kailash. So there is description of this very nicely scented flowers, and there is description that this Alakananda is nothing but the Ganges waters. So we know the past time where Vamanadev, he accepts 3 boons from um, Bali Maharaj, that he would take 3 paces of land. He accepts the boon, and in the first step, he covers the entire earth. In the second step, when he tries to pierce through the, he wants to cover the space, and when he puts his leg to cover the entire space, he expands so much. The toe touches the universal coverings, and as it pierces the universal coverings, the celestial water of Ganges comes through. And that's how Ganges, she entered this worldly realm. And but she was such a powerful river that if she entered the worldly realm with the force that she was flowing, then the entire world would be devastated. So what Lord Shiva does is he with consultation with other demigods, they make an arrangement that she lands within the um, hair of Lord Shiva. And how is the hair of Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva's hair is always matted. So as she falls on the head of Lord Shiva after touching the lotus feet of Vamanadev, because his hair is always matted, it's like a spiral. And by the time she comes down the spiral, force is completely reduced, minimized. So, and Ganges is considered to be a very sacred river because she was touched by the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vamanadev. So the same Ganges water is flowing through the Himalayas and through Alakananda, where Mother Sati would take her bath. And also there is description of this place where in this region there were very beautiful lotuses called Saugandhika. And this is a very, very special lotus which has very fragrant scent. And the demigods were very pleasantly surprised by the beauty of this place. So in text 24, also it is said that I don't know about much about these 2 rivers, Nanda and Alakananda, but it is sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm sure if we dig more, there will be some another beautiful pastime of the Lord associated with these 2 rivers, but I do not know the pastime. So in text 25, I think this purport is very, very, very much um, relevant to all of our lives, our spiritual lives. So here it is being described that the heavenly dancers used to come to enjoy with their husbands. But Srila Prabhupada writes a very, very beautiful purport in response to that. He says that only the pure devotees of the Lord are not agitated by the pushings of the mind and body. Any other personality, although they may be within the heavenly planets, they come under the spell of the pushings of the body and the mind. Um, so, uh, this Ganges waters, it emanates from the toenails of the personality of Godhead. So, anybody who takes bath within the Ganges, they're considered to be purified. But the more important thing that is to be discussed here is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only person who is always beyond the 3 modes of material nature. So, material contamination means that anybody who is under the spell of the modes of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So the demigods are considered to be always in the mode of goodness, but sometimes they can fall into the modes of passion and ignorance. Like, for example, here they want to enjoy with their counterparts. But when we come in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the surest and fastest way to come out of the modes of material natures. And there is there is a particular quality to material enjoyment. And what is that quality? It is described by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion as Chapala Sukha. Chapala Sukha means um, that happiness which is flickering. It's not consistent, it is flickering, it's changing always. So, that is the nature of material happiness. Again, within the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also describes the nature of material happiness as um, happiness that is pleasurable in the beginning, but it brings unhappiness towards the end. That is the happiness in the mode of passion. So that is the nature of material happiness. Whatever it is, in the beginning we may think, okay, after I attain this, I will become happy, and we struggle very hard to make a house or you know get get a car or gain a wife, or but even though we may achieve that material goal that we have for ourselves, and the expectation of happiness is not completely met, because right behind that happiness there is some misery associated with it. Opposed to this is actually um, the spiritual happiness. But before we go to spiritual happiness, let's take a few examples here from all of our lives. Can you think of any happiness within your own life that was material? I can think of one, and maybe other devotees can share more. Um, there is always this expectation that our friends will make us happy, and I have this is my experience. Whenever I have approached a person with maybe a subtle expectation, maybe not with that expectation that they have to make me happy, but naturally in relationships there is that feeling that when I associate with this person I'll become happy, so that's why we want to have relationships. But I have seen in most of my relationships that although many people try their best to be who they are, still I do not feel satisfied, and that hankering is somehow subsides if I'm able to chant the holy name properly. In no other way or fashion, like even though I'm surrounded by many wonderful people, still that hankering cannot be satisfied in other ways. So by deity worship and by um, chanting the holy name carefully, somehow that need gets satisfied. So this is one example that I was thinking of, that if I did not have deity worship or chanting of the holy name in my life, if I hankered only for relationships, probably I would never be satisfied. So if other devotees can think of some more examples from their life, just to stir the topic a little bit more.
You're saying, Mataji, when we were happy? I'm not quite sure what the.
I was thinking of like the um, expectation of happiness in this material world.
Mhm.
Here, Prabhupada is giving the example of these damsels, that they accepted sex enjoyment as a bodily demand. Afterwards, they were not happy.
Okay.
But it could be anything. Like, there are many different kinds of bodily demands and demands of the mind.
I think from you're speaking from the material perspective. Then
Yes.
I think when I had my grandparents when I was real young, they made me very, very happy. Just when I was with them, I always felt a sense of I felt light, I felt safe, I felt loved. I felt that they cared for me. They gave me wonderful God consciousness, and they shared themselves with me, and and I got completely accepted me exactly as I am. They didn't down me or try to change me. They just loved me, and that was something that has stayed with me my whole life. And when I didn't have them, I was sad. I was very sad. I had said when they passed away, I will never know anybody like these two people ever again. And I haven't my entire life. They gave me something that not even my parents could give me. And that's just one example. I mean, I have a couple of other examples of when I felt tremendous happiness. I think when I always had this desire to go to Europe and live in Europe and study there, and I did that when I was very young, and I remember that being the most happy, until I met my ex-husband. I think it was one of the happiest times of my life, and yeah, so that's another time. And of course, when I met my husband that I have now, I felt a lot of material happiness. He fulfilled a lot of need in me, and gave me a lot of what my grandparents gave me in so many different ways. So yeah, I would say those three things. There's more, but those are some things that have really kept me going and kept me very happy. And I would say coming to Krishna consciousness, I would say, yeah, those four things have been the best. Actually, coming to Krishna consciousness is probably the best thing of all of them, ultimately. Mm. Because in coming to Krishna consciousness, I've come to know the real truth about this existence. And I would have never found it out any other way. I would have been in so much ignorance. So that brings me a lot of happiness too. So that's it.
Thank you, Govardhanila Mataji, for sharing. That's a positive way of looking at what I was saying. So thank you for sharing. And the last thing, and then we can discuss more. The last thing in this um, paragraph, which is also very significant, is that the lotus feet of the Lord are the most purified places because they can purify us of all of our sinful tendencies. And the sinful tendencies that we experience are because of turning away from Krishna. That's why the mind and body are always demanding things from us, and they do not satisfy us ultimately. Even if if we were to give them everything that they ask for, still they cannot satisfy us. So sinful is nothing but when we go against the regulations of the Vedas to satisfy the demands of the mind and the body, as separate from Krishna. Basically, that's the meaning of sinful. Anything we do separate from Krishna is sinful, according to the definition of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why the Lord's lotus feet are called Tirtha Pada, because they can give shelter to many, many, many people. And there is a similar function with the devotees of the Lord. The devotees who are completely connected to the Lord also become Tirthapada. And the greatest example we have in front of us is Srila Prabhupada, because we cannot have a greater example than Srila Prabhupada in all of human history. Because he had the capacity to transform the minds and hearts of people who were deeply stooped within the modes of nature. Um, he came to the Bowery, risking his own life, but he had so much potency, he had so much spiritual powers, um, that he completely transformed not just the people who were in connection with him at that time, but he's continuing to transform people generations after he has left. So such is the potency of a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he is fit to be called as Tirthapada. That means he has the power to sanctify the hearts of people. So wherever there is presence of the Lord or the presence of the pure devotee of the Lord, we can be assured that we will become purified. And wherever they go, they can completely touch the hearts of people. So the uniqueness of Srila Prabhupada can never be adequately glorified, because in all of human history, there is nobody who gave such high teachings of Krishna consciousness to people with such low consciousness. Um, that was a miracle in itself. Once I heard that somebody came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Swamiji, can you show us a magic trick? Because usually people who claim themselves to be gurus or God, it's very famous in India. Many people do that. They claim themselves to be God. So they showed them some magic tricks. So when they came to Prabhupada and asked, he said, see, the magic is standing right in front of you. I have transformed so many um, of these Western persons into devotees of Krishna. So that was the magic, because we know in our Krishna consciousness, if we have tried to extend ourselves even to a single devotee, we know how much we have to give for a person to take up Krishna consciousness. Once my Guru Maharaj, he gave me this service. He said, he gave me the contact of information of a person, and he said, get them to a platform of chanting one round of the Mahamantra. And I took the um, order of my spiritual instruction of my spiritual master very seriously, and I tried this way and I tried that way, and the person who was actually there, they came up with so many excuses. Until today I could not get them to chant one round of Hare Krishna. So we need spiritual potency in order to preach Krishna consciousness. And that spiritual potency is readily available in the lotus feet of the Lord and at the lotus feet of his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada is available to us through his books. He's available to us even today through his lectures. So if we want to satisfy our deepest heart's desires, then it is possible only when we come in contact with the Lord, because only Krishna can completely satisfy us. And that access is given to us through the devotees of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us the access to satisfy our heart's deepest desires by associating with Krishna through, and that access is through his books, through his words. So the more we study Srila Prabhupada's words, the more we chant the holy name as he always recommended, the more we become connected with Srila Prabhupada, not only will we have the capacity to purify our lives, but we will also have the capacity to purify the lives of other people. Krishna will give us that potency to touch the heart of others. And Krishna will give us the potency to remain steady, even in the midst of the greatest difficulties and obstacles. So I'll stop here and look if other devotees would like to add to the discussion. Thank you all for your association.
Good evening, Mataji. This is Linda.
Hari Krishna, Linda Mataji. So nice to have you.
Yeah, same here. Coming on quite late. 'Cause I had a headache all day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Feel
yeah.
this.
Well, I guess it kind of goes along with cataract surgery. You know, you get you get your eyesight, but you have to suffer. You know, I guess it's like going through plastic surgery. You know, everything it's painful the first couple of weeks, and then hopefully it's gonna go away.
Oh, so you had a surgery?
Yes, yes, the Lord is all powerful. I don't think we could comprehend how powerful the Lord is. You know, that's why, you know, and you know his judgment and his you know what is that demigod that puts forth all judgment and you know
Yamaraj.
yeah he what am I trying to say? You know, we just I don't think we can comprehend, you know. But what we can do, you know, we can concentrate on his majesty and pray, you know, like the Dickens for his mercy in our lives.
Yes, Mataji. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, only by very sincere prayers, the Lord is revealed.
Yes. Yes. We come from such a worldly society. Yeah.
Very true.
People don't realize that if they could just quiet themselves down in meditation, you know, and they can access, you know, God in their life.
Very true. Yeah, the whole society is completely under the modes of passion and ignorance.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus.
Especially in this, we are experiencing it much more than ever before.
We are. Oh, we are. So badly. So badly.
Leela Mandri, yesterday I was asking a question. If you and nobody answered me, so I was going to ask Guru Maharaj. But do you know if this Kailash Hill that nobody can access, does it have a place in the spiritual world also?
Yes, Mataji. I have to look it up, but there is uh, a Kailash mountain in the Himalayas, and
Mm.
there is also a Kailash um, in the in Shivaloka, like which is between um, the earthly realm and Goloka Vrindavan. So there is
So
this,
that's a heavenly planet, but that's not the spiritual world.
it is not a heavenly planet. It's a place. Heavenly planets is still within the material worlds.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't are you saying Srivaloka? Isn't
Shivaloka
that one?
is in between uh, um, between Goloka Vrindavan and the material world.
Right. So it's actually in a heavenly planet. It's one of the heavenly realms.
No, we use the word. I'm sorry, but like we use the word very specifically. The heavenly realm, we use it to indicate um, the planets of Lord Brahma. Okay, let me try
Okay.
and see. Are you able to see the screen?
No, I'm not right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, so um, actually, there is another place which actually shows very nicely that see these. I don't know how many of you are in front of the computers, um, but I'm sharing the screen. Uh, is anybody able to see?
We are seeing text 26.
Okay. Are you able to see now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually the structure of the universe. The heavenly planets are the top 7 planetary systems. You know, the top 7 planets.
Yes. Isn't Srivaloka is probably just above, what is it, Bruvaloka or something?
No, Dhruvaloka is different. Dhruvaloka,
Not Druvaloka, Buva or something like that. There's Bruloka and
Shiva, the planet of Shiva, I have heard, is near the layers between the universe, right? Like they're on, those if you see those bands around the universe,
yes.
Lord Shiva's planet is up there. So it's like,
It's not the heavenly planets. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Beyond the heavenly planets, but it is not in Goloka Vrindavan also. So it's somewhere in between the heavenly planets and the spiritual worlds. There is another ISKCON a painting of this, and let me let me see if I can find that. But basically, the idea is that Shivaloka, just as Lord Shiva is in between Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva, similarly, his planetary system is also like somewhere in between.
yeah, okay.
But you can ask Maharaj, he always has very good insights into.
Who?
Uh, you can ask Chandramali Maharaj, he always has good insights. That was what I was trying to say.
Oh, Chandramali Swami. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
So there is another. Where is it? I lost it.
Now, these two rivers, Nanda and Alakananda, these are actual places in the Himalayas that people go to, correct?
Yes.
Whereas this Kailash hill is inaccessible.
Is it written that Kailash Hill is inaccessible?
Oh yeah, we were reading that just,
Yesterday?
what was it, yesterday and the day before? Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go back and I'll tell you where it is. Hold on. Oh yeah. In fact, who was telling us this?
Ruchi Mataji.
Ruchi Mataji was talking about it too, and saying you can't get there. You know, people have tried to climb it. It's not possible. I think you would have to go there by a spiritual airplane. You know. You know, I know it's a place that exists on the earth, but nobody can get there. Let's see. I can't remember where it's. Huh. Who was on that class with me yesterday and the day before? Oh, brother.
I was, but I do not remember reading it that it was inaccessible.
Oh, really?
I remember Ruchi saying it, but I don't remember it being written.
Okay. You know what? You might be right about that. That's what I thought, though, because, you know, I walked in halfway through the class. I'm trying to see if I can find it, and I think you're right. I'm not finding it so far.
That was something that she, you know, something that she knew from somewhere else.
Okay.
Mataji, are you able to see the screen? Actually, I was talking about this a diagram. You know, see, within the universe is also an abode of Lord Shiva, but I don't know, I keep losing this, but let me try again. But also, see, beyond the Brahma Jyoti and before and the spiritual planets, there's also this in this diagram to show the abode of Lord Shiva. I have to find, you know, when I click on this, like it's not opening up the image, but let me see, say.
Is there any way you can send some of this to our Srimad Bhagavatam, what do you call it, WhatsApp site?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, but I hope you are able to see, those of you who are let me try again. Yeah. So
What are you looking under? Are you Googling Shiva Loka?
no, I'm seeing structure of the universe. But if you are
Mataji, I've posted that picture in our WhatsApp group so you all can see it actually.
Thank you.
so see within, you know, there is the material world, which is fourth of the universe, and above that is the spiritual world of Krishna. You know, like in the shape of a lotus, and then there are the Vaikuntha planets, and there is Brahma Jyoti, and then there is Shiva Loka, right below the Goloka planets. I mean the Vaikuntha planets. So Lord Shiva has multiple abodes, and there is also an abode, like unique abode just for himself.